everybody, I'm Comic Week's Charles Morgan. I'm with Brianna Beebe from the House of Alpha. And we are here with the new comic books for this week. And we have quite a few of them. It's not as big a week as it has been in recent past. With
it's not like a Mongo week. It's kind of middle of the road.
Very middle of the road, but some really interesting and important issues for the industry. And we were going to get right into them. So the first one you're probably going to want to know about, if you don't already know about it, is House of X.
Yep, this is going to be a redoing of X-Men, so to speak. It's supposed to be a new lineup. You're not quite sure what's going on yet. I don't know if it's going to be they tear everything down and a bunch of characters get eliminated, because there are a lot of X-Men. As someone who is a fan of tertiary X-Men, I also understand when they have to kind of cull the herd, so to speak, simply because it is a huge cast of characters. So there's a lot of things going on. You have House of X and then Powers of X is supposed to be coming out next week as well. So both of these are going to kind of interchange into each other. It's supposed to be the same universe. It won't be quite as intense as the Age of X-Men stuff that was coming out before it, though.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the X-Men series just concluded last week, I think.
Yes.
And so, I find it really interesting. I grew up in the 90s, and the X-Men were the ultimate, comic book title from Marvel, I guess along with Spider-Man. But it seems like, the Avengers with the Marvel Cinematic Universe have really taken the spotlight away from these very important series, especially X-Men. I think has just not had that hot series in quite a while.
Well,
so it'd be pretty cool to see if it gets back to where it was.
Well, I mean, the whole reason why we're able to get the superhero movies that we have now is partially because of X-Men, because for a very long time it was blacklisted because they were doing so poorly. After the older Supermans, and you have Batman who came in and kind of was like, okay, well, we can do it again, but you didn't see anything Marvel based for a hot minute. So it would be really nice, especially with all of the whatnot and deals, to see X-Men at the forefront again.
Right. You can't forget how poorly Howard the Duck did, and that almost killed super comic book movies for for a decade. So anyway, we have House of X. Another cool thing you may be interested in, this is the Marvels Epilogue. This is a one-shot. This is essentially a last taste of Ross's vision of the Marvel Universe. We flipped through it a little bit. There's some behind-the-scenes sketches, and just, basically this is a day in the life of Marvel, getting around the Rockefeller Square at the Christmas tree lighting and just sort of having their moments together. And I think that's very interesting, because one of the things about Marvels is it's sort of painted as a tribute to the history of the Marvel Universe, but it was also showing a universe where it would be normal to see people with these powers living in it and being amongst everybody. So yeah, this is definitely something we're going to check out. And I think there's a couple covers to this.
Yes, there's a few. There are definitely a few.
Another Marvel. This is the Marvel show. There's also the History of the Marvel Universe #1. So this is going to be a again, this Marvel's been doing this quite a bit, with the Spider-Man and some other series.
Well, part of it is because it's supposed to be, I believe, the 80 years of Marvel. So they're kind of doing a celebration of some of the older stuff that might not necessarily be in print currently. They did a lot of one-shots at the beginning of the year. Just kind of stuff that's kind of retelling of where Marvel's been because of this special anniversary. So they're bringing back a lot of older stuff and kind of explaining things a little bit more in detail.
It's a little baby Thanos.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
baby Thanos.
Art's beautiful too in this.
Oh yeah, it looks really neat, and especially because they try to make it kind of look older on the inside,
which
is really cool.
Yeah. So anyway, there's a couple covers of that too.
Web of Venom, Funeral Pyre. Right now, we're anticipating Absolute Carnage, which is supposed to be coming out in August. So Venom's been a pretty big book right now because it's going to be kind of building up what's happening. There's a lot of craziness going on with Carnage at the moment. There's been a lot of one-shotty type stuff as well, trying to kind of flesh it out. So I have had a lot of people expressing a lot of interest in that book.
Right.
Because it seems like they're building it up really well. So let's see if it turns into something fantastical or if it's kind of a,
Yeah, it's weird. I was kind of burned out by all the War of the Realms crossovers, like in every possible series imaginable. But I've had a lot of fun with the Carnageized covers and things like that.
Well, because it's a little bit more of like a teaser type thing versus like an all-out like cross-section. War of the Realms honestly was one of the better cross-promotional things because it actually felt like it made more sense versus like, okay, and now we're dealing with this character in this universe. Like it felt a lot more well thought out.
Right.
But the downside is that I have a lot of customers that have said that they're kind of tired of the crossover series. They want to be able to read a book about that character and read about that character. So we'll see. Hopefully it'll be fantastic, and then everybody will feel renewed.
You know, one of my favorite series that Image is putting out lately is Ascender. It's a follow-up of Descender. Dustin Nguyen just won an Eisner Award for Best Watercolor in Internal Art at the San Diego Comic-Con. It's easy to see why. This is a very unique look of comic books.
The use of white is really cool.
Yeah, white and black, absolutely. And I just go back to those Descender covers are phenomenal. But yeah, Ascender has been a good read so far. I really like the characters, and so I'm excited to see what's going on with this series. You know, it's just going to be great. Everything pretty much just is like probably the 50th Jeff Lemire title in the market that's worth reading. Yeah. So you know, I'm not, you know, usually I'd be burnt out by one writer, but not Jeff. What happens here?
Things happen.
Yeah.
To a certain fuzzy creature.
Yeah. So
who likes to carry big guns.
So if you've been reading the key comic apps and everybody telling you this is probably going to sell out, Rocket gets wrecked, but we don't really know what happens to Rocket. So, but you definitely want to check this out. Guardians of the Galaxy is my favorite characters in the Marvel universe. I think it's always funny. I like Groot. I like Rocket Raccoon. I like pretty much everything about this.
Well, and it's really interesting because like the original lineup of Guardians of the Galaxy was definitely not the lineup that we have now, but I mean it's been doing super well, and I feel like a lot of people have a lot of fun with the characters, which is always going to be the big thing. If people are enjoying it, so why don't you make it type thing.
Right. Well, I think that the Guardians of the Galaxy really changed the entire direction of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think that it was almost like a revelation to see it not take itself so seriously.
Well, and I feel like they did a lot of really neat stuff with it that felt very unique to itself. They didn't feel like they had to play the Marvel formula to everything. They took stylistically different stuff into accordance. It's not like, okay, let's just paint everything with the exact same brush. Every Guardians of the Galaxy movie, in my opinion, is very much, it feels like a Guardians of the Galaxy movie, if that makes any sense. Right. Also, number 2 hit me like right in my soul, so.
Oh yeah, that opening sequence was probably one of the coolest.
It was a sweet opening sequence, but now Yondu is my dad's favorite character. And as a short little story thing, he had helped us in the store when it was first opening get an interview. Right. And I was like, thank you so much. And what he responded with was, I'll always be your Yondu. And I cried in public. It was great. So if you're watching this, Dad, thanks. Right. We got dad shout-outs. That's where we're going with this. Exactly. So another cool series, I mean, it's really just been hitting it, is Boom's Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Oh, these gorgeous covers. Gorgeous covers.
So basically it seems like every month they're introducing something that's going to change that universe, new characters, new teams. Well,
and it seems like so far, like the Shattered Grid series was a great series. They seem like they're going a lot of interesting directions, and I have a large gambit of people reading them. Definitely. Plus the cover's cool too, so that's an added bonus.
Yeah, don't sleep on Boom. They've been putting out a lot of nice stuff.
Boom's personally, it's one of my favorite publishers to try out new things with, just because they kind of have an interesting flavor all their own.
So we got a couple of number 1s left. There's Star Pig, and when I saw this, I think Hubert said the same thing. He thought it looked kind of like a Gem of the Holograms. Kind of
because of the color.
But actually, it's a 21st century teenage story about a girl named Vess, and she's like in space. She gets some powers, and it seems fun, you know. So it's sort of like if you like 1990s heavy metal aesthetics and taking that into outer space and being totally ridiculous.
Yeah, the sea pig is now space space pig.
Right.
He's a star pig.
So anyway, that's kind of cool. Of course, on this first DC thing we're talking about this week,
Yep.
there's a Sean Murphy's Batman Curse of the White Knight.
Yep, which has been very anticipated. A lot of people had a lot of fun with the White Knight, White Knight series. I knew things, and I'm correcting myself, with the White Knight series. Because they really enjoyed it, but they felt like it just kind of ended, and it's kind of like, okay, well, what's next? Where are we going with this? Like, feels like there needs to be a little bit more added to it. So I have a lot of people that are super excited for this one.
You know, Joker's pants are riding a little low for somebody with suspenders. That's all I'm going to say about that. Then you got Aliens Rescue, you know, here from Dark Horse, #1. Jane Foster's got a Valkyrie series. She's doing.
Yeah. It seems a little. It's quite well timed due to several announcements that happened at San Diego. Since she apparently Jane Foster is gonna become a Thor,
right?
Or the Thor.
And we have for you D&D players the newest issue, Rolled and Told.
Yep, which is a great series. If you haven't seen it before, they do have like sequential issues, but they're not sequential in the sense that you need to have every single issue, simply because it's going to be, there's normally a theme associated with it, and it's basically going to be helpful tips, tricks, potential modules inside of that for you to be able to play with your players if you're kind of in between what you want to do, have a break, somebody's on vacation type stuff, especially when it's the summer.
Well, I was reading some of the San Diego Comic-Con news and on Twitter, and there were some first-hand reviews of the Die RPG, which people think is amazing.
Yay, that's exciting, because I mean the book is just so great. I loved all the references it had, so if it mechanically works really well as well, that would be so cool.
Yeah, apparently like they're building it exactly as they're writing the story.
That's so
you know, so each character class, you know, the character takes on the persona. They have the one die for that character, and apparently the people who played it like really liked it.
Oh, cool. Well, that's super neat, especially if you can get kind of some stuff to kind of change up, because there's a lot of people that play tabletop where you want to go different avenues, do different stuff.
I think they're using metal die too.
Ooh, that's exciting.
So get your own, or I don't know. So what are we doing in trades this week?
So I just picked a couple. Thor of the Realms. That's going to be a new one we have out. It's going to be a collection of some of the older issues, but just because we just recently had War of the Realms come out, it's kind of a cool one to check out. And then we're also going to have Superman Year One. This is going to be the second printing. It's going to have a lovely blue border up at the top, so you can distinguish. We were having trouble trying to see if it was printed anywhere, but that's going to be the big distinguisher, just so you know.
Right. And this is a great story. I mean, we really liked it. So I don't know where Frank Miller's going to take it from here, because apparently, you know, Superman becomes a Navy SEAL. So I'm sure that he doesn't just hang out on the beach and play volleyball.
Yeah, he's probably doing important things, and stuff.
But the first issue, I mean, it's just your classic retelling of Superman's origin story through the lens of Frank Miller, which kind of reminds me a little bit here of Terrence Malick, Tree of Life, or any of his films, really. A lot of introspection. So, but yeah, definitely pick up that Superman Year One. I like that a lot better than the Batman Damned. You know, so, but, you know, and I do like the idea of having comic books where you get to read them without having commercials. And I would pay extra. I would pay $1 extra if every comic book came that way. Yeah. You know, because it just breaks up your concentration. Yeah, but anyway, that's kind of a decent week. You know, it's not going to break the bank, but there's some important issues, and we definitely hope you stop by the comic book shops on Wednesday, support your local retailer. Before we go, let's thank our people. For Alpha,
I'm going to have David Scott Lane, Brennan Yell, Scott Badger, Tisha Mosby, David E. Collis, Charles Slade, Joe Green, and then on YouTube, Whatever Everyday wanted us to say hi to Norman. Obviously, I'm not Norman.
Right.
But he will be back.
He's on a secret mission. He actually is in the he's in the multiverse.
Is he a Navy SEAL too?
He's in the multiverse, and right now he is in the multiverse version of Alpha, helping you guys clean up.
Yes. So the other side of it.
Right. You got infinite number of stores to take care of.
Apparently.
For Comic Week, I'd like to thank Dennis Garvey, Jason Stiegelmeyer, Rand D, Mark Christopher Babone. Oh, that's an incredible name.
That is fantastic.
Tay Downer and Scott Palichik. Thank you, everybody, for liking the videos. We're already up to, I think, 82 subscribers on YouTube, so please subscribe. And like I said, check out that giveaway. We'll announce our winner next Tuesday. So you want that art trim cover, you get a chance for free. So, all right, for everybody here at Alpha and for Comic Week, we'll see you next week.